Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Ask yourself, why? Why are certain Americans hating this country so much? The beacon of hope for the world, and yet these evil people are trying to snuff out the light. Why? Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a real patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning, good morning. Oh, thank you very much, Kate Smith. We are going to be super positive about the United States of America, and I'm just going to simply say, if you don't like it, don't listen. It's as simple as that. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch, and right now I'm going to go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. You're on the air.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Randy. I appreciate it, buddy. Call back in a little bit. Of course, we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of a very safe, clean environment and the best in tires. All 7 locations, Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And, of course, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. I'm Zeb Bell. Sean's over at the board, and Sean probably noticed that I changed the order this morning, not by any coincidence, just I made a mistake. And right now, let's go to the weather forecast. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. I mean, they've got the best of all the tools and equipment you need to finish any kind of a project, construction project, whatever, working in your lawn. I mean, whatever, they've got the tools and equipment for both long and short-term rental. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Rain showers for today and tomorrow, then hopefully clearing up by midweek. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting rain showers for today, about a 70% chance, maybe with some afternoon thunderstorms. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of about 60. Winds could gust as high as 20 miles an hour for tonight. Mostly cloudy skies, scattered showers. Low of about 46 tomorrow. Scattered showers and thunderstorms by the afternoon. Partly sunny skies as we hit early evening with a high of about 67 by Tuesday night. Isolated showers before midnight. Mostly clear with a low 46 by Wednesday. Mostly sunny skies, 78. Looks like 83 for Thursday. That's a look at your weather for Zeb.
Ooh, things are going to get nice towards the end of this week. Thank you, Gina. Great weather forecast, and brought to you by Roger and the crew at K&R Rental. 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. Number to call, 678-3122. Caller, just have a little patience with me. I'll be right there. I want to remind everybody, too, about our friends, Kevin and Cindy over at Darrow's Cleaners. You know, we've been taking our clothes in there for a long time, and they do the best of putting all the creases in the Wranglers and the dry cleaning and everything. And I'll tell you what, they are first class at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. And if you don't have time to do your washing, take it into Darrow's. They'll wash, dry, fold, and iron all your clothes, just like Mama used to. Hey, listen, stop in. Really nice people. Darrow's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. One other thing I want to mention, too, quickly before I take my first call. Our thanks go out to Ramsey Heating and Electric, and we've used them so many times over the years. And you talk about reliability, dependability, and knowledge, they've got it all. As a matter of fact, they have all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, and they have had for almost 7 decades. Oh, my. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Oberlin Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. They're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5. Don't forget the best, Ramsey Heating and Electric. Caller, I thank you for your patience. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, well, I'll just start out this way. This is my thoughts on it. But America is a different country than it was 150 years ago. Because we have more slaves in America now than we did 150 years ago. If you don't believe me, ask a lot of your households, do they have any money left after paying all these credit cards and everything they got? Do they have any room to breathe? Not really. And so they can say what they want about slavery, but that's what I call it. You're working for someone else.
Well, Keith, you know, you could get into a topic there that would take days and days to discuss about credit and the misuse of credit cards, the misuse of funding, your cash, your paycheck, whatever. I will say this, and I mean this. There was a point in my life where I absolutely didn't pay attention to the use of credit cards and the abuse of credit cards due to the fact that I was traveling literally all over the world and just using that as my form of payment, and it became kind of a crutch and so easy to hand it out. And you can get yourself into a pit of snakes, which I did at one time. I'll be very honest about it. And you have to really be diligent, more so than ever before, with the use of credit cards today. I'll just say that and let it go at that.
You know, you can't borrow yourself out of debt.
No.
It's impossible. I tried it just like you did. Doesn't work.
Well, I mean, diligence and really understanding, I mean, the percent of interest and how you're paying and paying and paying for the same item over and over because of the interest rate is absolutely insidious. But you know, my only advice is use it if you travel like I do, or did, I should say. I've cut back 90% of my travel, is, you know, for gas and then pay it at the end of the month. Or if you need to tack motel rooms onto that, then pay it at the end of the month. It cannot go longer than a 30-day period, and you should have slush money available to pay that off. I am not a financial guru trying to tell anybody how to manage their resources, because the good Lord above knows I have mismanaged mine for a large percentage of my life. But I learned through trial and error.
Well, this is how the bad people get control. If they have the control of all the money.
Yeah.
And then we are merely slaves.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I appreciate that, Keith. Thank you. Thank you for your call, and I know you'll be calling back later. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sean, could I please have a good word for the Silver State Stampede?
Nevada's oldest rodeo, the Silver State Stampede, roars into the Elko County Fairgrounds July 10, 11, and 12. This PRCA-sanctioned rodeo brings you the thrill of pro riders going head-to-head in one of the world's toughest sports, rodeo. The action kicks off Friday evening with a delicious tri-tip dinner for just $10. Old West bronc ride, mutton busting, PRCA rodeo action, and the always popular Ring of Fear. Dance the night away to the music of the Moonshine Outlaws. And on Saturday, show your support with Tough Enough to Wear Pink. Round out the weekend with Family Day Sunday evening. The best family entertainment this side of the Rio Grande. The Silver State Stampede, July 10, 11, and 12 at the Elko County Fairgrounds. The Silver State Stampede will be following all of the Nevada governor's directives, Nevada United Roadmap to Recovery Plan, as well as the CDC guidelines. The safety of everyone is our top priority.
Thank you very much, and don't forget our friends at Dino Septic Service, septic tank pumping. Yeah, you don't want to be out there doing that. Septic tanks and drain fields installed, backhoe services, water and sewer lines installed, sewer and sink drain lines cleaned. I'm telling you, they do the job you don't want to do, and they do it with a smile on their face. Fast, fair, friendly service. These are nice people at 436-6526 or 678-1638. Don't forget Dino's Septic Service with the big truck that says smells cargo on the way to serve you. Dino's Septic Service. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, study for yourself. Don't rely on what I'm telling you regarding Black Lives Matter. If you have any thoughts that I am misleading you or giving you misinformation, pick up the information yourself. Go to the websites, find out the honest appraisals. Go to any source and find out the dangers and the evils of Black Lives Matter as a group. Do it for you to understand how insidious they are and growing like a cancer, even right here. They are absolute Marxists trying to take our country, destroying our history and our heritage, destroying our law enforcement by mob rule, and burning, looting, and beating until they get what they want. Complete control. Now, if you think it's cute or nice or just getting along, going along with Black Lives Matter, you are entirely in mistake. Ask yourself how anyone can get along or reconcile anything by being forced or beaten or burned out. Why should we capitulate and give them anything after all they have done over the last 2 months to tear apart our country? And caller, I'll be right there. I want to mention a very wise lady, very wise in the fact that she knows what she's talking about, wrote a letter to our Times News this morning. And her name is Bonnie Hamilton of Twin Falls. Bonnie, God bless you. I mean that. God bless you for your honesty and your appraisal of Black Lives Matter with Marxist ideologies. She was and is spot on. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. Admiral Yamamoto said that right after Pearl Harbor was attacked, we have awakened a sleeping giant. The only way we're going to awaken the sleeping giant is what I brought up before. We're going to have rallies to where we can expose these Antifa and the rest of them to millions of Americans who are outraged. And doing it over the phone and sitting home is not going to accomplish anything.
Well, okay, Tony, I agree with you. But I am totally shocked, Tony, honestly, as to the amount of people and who some of these people are that do not understand how dangerous groups like Antifa and Black Lives Matter are. On the back page of the Times News yesterday's Sunday edition, The whole back page was purchased by a complete scenario of lefty groups within the state of Idaho, and they are supporting Black Lives Matter. And they're going on and they're really hitting hard and calling you and I white supremacists and everything. This was on the back page of the Times News first section yesterday, Tony. This is how dangerous it's getting.
Oh, I know. The Times News called me several times about money to sign me up, and they don't want to hear from me again. I got nothing to say about that.
Well,
until the American people decide to get off to their butts and get out the fairgrounds or any other place where we can get hundreds and hundreds of people to attend, and let our politicians know that we are fed up with them up there in Washington collecting their big money and their big benefits and everything and doing nothing. We are going to have to join forces together to save America.
I agree.
If people are going to sit in front of the TVs every day and just watch what's going on in the streets, pretty soon, this is it, baby.
I could not agree more, and your insight is absolutely correct. Thank you, Tony, and I just always wish you and Mary the very best. God bless you. Thank you for your call.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Caller number 2, I'll be right there. We've got to do something. We have to do something. We, the people, have got to do something. And I'm not criticizing our state officials. I am criticizing the national scope of things. They're not doing their job. Caller, I'll be right with you, I promise. Don't forget, for the best of food for you, your family, friends, neighbors, everybody, stop over to Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley. It's true. America's Diner. Oh, my. Deanne loves the strawberry crepe breakfast, and you're going to love anything and everything. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, all the desserts, everything. I mean, it's fantastic. And along with the great food, there are really nice people serving you at 611 North Overland in Burley, and another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Well, let's look down the road, but these are Marxists for sure, and that letter in the editor was excellent. She really did a great job. But here's where we're going. If we don't expose and stop this, of course, these guys are being funded. They're being paid. I've seen they're paying up to $25 an hour for you to be a protester and go out and loot and everything else, and they've already lined up the legal people to get you out of jail, and nobody's being prosecuted. So this is the biggest problem. But here's where they're going. They want to eliminate the local police, defund the police, but they want, in the final result, a national police force, which doesn't have any allegiance to your local. They want to destroy the local police and the sheriff, and the sheriff is the most important elected office we have. If he capitulates, Sheriff Carter here capitulates and gives in to the feds, it's all over for us. But there's even something worse about the whole thing, is that there is a movement, too, that if we don't abide by this martial law, so to speak, or this national police force, they'll bring in federal UN troops. And guess what country is designated for foreign troops to come in here for insurrections? It's the Red Chinese, the Communist Chinese. You can imagine, would they have any... Okay. About if they come to your home and say, well, give us your guns, they'll just shoot you.
All right, hold on. Adrian, I can't... Adrian, wait a minute, please. I can't let you just go on. I got to get some insert here. Number one, I want to stick with the subject matter I started with. I don't want to get carried off because you're right. I'm not trying to minimize your point, but I want to keep on the point of Black Lives Matter and how insidious and evil it is, and go back to the point of yesterday's Times News with a full Black Lives Matter support page on the back of the front section, and with all those supposed groups in support, naturally the ACLU, naturally the Add the Words, naturally the Idaho chapter of the Sierra Club, naturally the Idaho Office for Refugees, and on and on and on. That's what I want to stay commenting on, because I think the American public, and right here in Magic Valley, people are duped into not really understanding what in the heck Black Lives Matter really is.
Well, and like she said in the letter, if you don't go along with it, this is Saul Alinsky type stuff. If you don't go along with it, they're going to demonize you, and they're going to make it up. They'll just flat make it up. Lies and so forth about calling everybody a white supremacist. You and I are not white supremacists. I don't know anybody that, none of my friends are, and I can tell you, they just make that up because it sounds good, and so they demonize everybody.
Well, right here, wait a minute, wait.
We stand behind our sheriff, our local police.
Wait a minute, Adrian, please.
Animal writing, we had a goal, and we've got it again. Support your local police and keep them independent, because if we lose the police, it's all over.
I agree. Now let me jump in here. You brought up a very interesting point that needs to be mentioned. So many times in this, I call it an evil back page of the Times News. Very evil. And I absolutely condemn the Times News for carrying this garbage. There were so many times in this article that was paid for by these nonprofits that they mentioned and highlighted white supremacy, impacted by white supremacy, ending white supremacy, communities to end white supremacy. You know something? I'm sick and tired of all this garbage aimed at white people, Caucasians, and all of us are being lumped together in being systematic racists and white supremacists. This is obscene.
Well, sure it is that, but that's the idea. They don't. It's not true, but they don't care about that. The truth, that the end justifies the means. So they're going to push this narrative, and there's enough people that believe that stuff, and the people that are listening to NPR, CNN, and the mainstream media, they hear this poison every day, and some people believe it. And believe me, I've got some friends that almost aren't friends anymore because they've eaten this garbage up concerning all of this stuff.
Absolutely. I got to run. I've got more calls, but you are spot on with your assessment this morning, Adrian. I'm late. I've got to get a bunch of things in. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay. Keep our sheriff and keep our police local, because otherwise we'll lose our country.
I agree. Thank you very much. Caller, please bear with me just a second. I've got to get this in, and then I'll be right with you. Don't forget that as of tomorrow, let me take a look here for a minute. Oh, today is the PMT Customer Appreciation Luncheon for the Great Big Rupert 4th of July celebration. Holy smokes, I'm a week behind. And the theme Rockin' in the USA with the Grand Marshals, Charlie and Lori Creason. And then tomorrow, the Christmas lighting breakfast on the square in Rupert at 6 o'clock in the morning. Get up out of bed, George. And don't forget, Wednesday, they're going to have patriotic programs. We need more patriotism, and it's all going to be at the Rupert 4th of July celebration with mutton busting and lawnmower races. And on Saturday, July 4th, the world's best 4th of July parade. All of this at Rupert's 4th of July celebration for 2020. Caller, I'll take your call before I give away the cookies. Go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. One thing I keep coming back to is the government, the people that are in our government that we vote in, and they go into office and they swear to uphold the Constitution. Those that do not, we need to have, they need to be booted out of office.
Immediately, and not wait for the next election.
Exactly. And Black Lives Matter, that is one of the most racist racist terms I've ever heard.
Did you hear, I hate to interrupt you, but I want to get this in because I think you're aware of it. Did you hear that they went after, they being Black Lives Matter, and some of the so-called news media went after Vice President Pence because he would not say in an interview Black Lives Matter. He said all lives matter. And the interviewer kept hammering at him, saying, why can't you say Black Lives Matter? And he said, because I believe that all life matters, born and unborn. And I salute Vice President Pence for not weakening to these people.
I do too. And where are most of the black people killed? They're killed in the womb.
Yeah, and then on the streets in Chicago.
Yeah, but more of them are killed by abortion than on the streets of Chicago.
13 people were killed, most of them children, this past weekend. One little baby was sitting in a car seat and shot to death. And yet they will criticize us and say we're white supremacists and everything else when they are killing themselves on the streets in Chicago, Minneapolis, Milwaukee, St. Louis. I'm sick of this garbage.
I am too, and that's why Black Lives Matter is one of the biggest hypocrites organizations I've ever seen. They do not care about black lives, or they would be up in arms about what's going on in Chicago.
Absolutely. Doug, I've got to give away some cookies, and I've got a call waiting. I hate to cut you short, but I have to, and I urge you to call back. I really do.
Okay, God bless.
Thank you, buddy. Caller, if you would please just stay on the line. I tell you what, I'll take your call, and then I'll give the cookies away real fast. Go ahead. I don't want to hold you up.
The cookies are yummy. But anyway, as I called, Zeb, is to tell you my opinion on this deal. If they defund our police department, what do they think is going to happen? You think they think we're going to fold up? They think the honest, hard-working, American-loving people are just going to fold up and capitulate to the ridiculous demands that they're wanting? If they think so, I am sorry to say there are a lot of them that are very mistaken. I can see things turning back towards the early 1800s and mid-1800s where a city marshal and a city judge took care of business themselves, and they didn't wait for a federal court to come around. They did it themselves. And I hate to say it, but that just may be where we're headed. And I think that would happen before the UN got involved, and you don't want the UN.
Absolutely.
I'll let you know.
Riley, God bless you, man. I appreciate it. And right now, I hate to be in a hurry, but I am. And caller number 2, if you're out there, I'll be right with you. Want to remind you, we're going to give away some cookies really quick from Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert, right on the square. What a delicious bakery. Oh, they make it all. I mean, whether it's pies or cakes, wedding cakes. Oh, my goodness. And all the cookies, everything. And then they've got a wonderful restaurant for you to stop in and enjoy. I mean, really enjoy. At Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Here's the question. To win a dozen cookies, come on now, on the television show, The Dick Van Dyke Show, what was the last name of the family that was featured? Rob, Laura, and Richie. What was their last name in the series? First person to call with the right answer gets a dozen cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Quickly, on the TV show, The Dick Van Dyke Show, what was the last name of the family? Rob, Laura, and Richie, the little boy. What was their last name? Quickly call 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. With the right answer, you're going to get a dozen of the most doggone delicious cookies you ever had in your life from Sophie's Chatterbox. So quickly give me a call. What was the last name of the family? Rob, Laura, and Richie in the TV series. What was their name? Quickly give me a jingle. Well, I'm waiting for your call that I certainly hope is coming in real quick so we can finalize our cookie giveaway. I also want to remind you about Berry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Napa location for all the Bobcats. They've got all the Bobcats in all the shapes and sizes. They've got all the trenchers and the scissor lifts, get you way up there, and they've got all the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators for the lifting, the digging, the pushing, and the carrying, and great financing rates and rental rates. You check it out today with the people that can help you at Berry Equipment and Rental in Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, Zeb, is it Petri?
What's your name?
Petri.
And what is your name?
Uh-oh. Norma?
Well, I estimate there's about 3.9 million Normas in the United States. What's your last name?
Cunnington.
Okay, well, listen, where do you live?
Burley.
In Burley. Well, thank you, and I hope you enjoy your cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox, because it was Petri, Rob Petri, Laura Petri, and Richie, and they made up the family name on that TV show. God bless you, and thank you for calling in. Go call Sophie's and tell them when you'll be over to pick up your cookies.
Do you have Sophie's number?
As a matter of fact, I think I do real quick. I don't like to do this too much, but 436-0354.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Norma. Appreciate it. All right. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Quickly, go ahead, please.
What's the answer to the question?
Petri. I just had a winner.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. What were you going to say? He was going to say the dial tone. All right. It was Petri. That was a great comedy show. I really enjoyed that. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This statement by Black Lives Matter and some of the black so-called leadership, etc., that now in this country there's systemic racism. What? The word systemic leaves me with a very cold yet animosity-filled feeling. And it's always said there's systemic racism by white people, systemic racism by the police. Systemic meaning that we're all like a cancer growing and hating them, and we're all systemically bad. That just absolutely offends me. To the point of we'd better start speaking out, because they, the other side, the left, the evil, insidious side, is taking and keeping control. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, I've said this in the past, but it bears repeating. Blacks die at a rate 6 times higher than Hispanics and whites combined. Okay, now this is the point here. You know who's killing the blacks? The blacks. Whether or not it's in the womb or on the street. They glorify it in their music, their songs. They glorify drug abuse, pimping, every terrible thing you can imagine. And 13% of the population is black, and they do 50% of the crime, violent crime. Now, these are facts. And Black Lives Matter and the Times rag, forgive me, they're, see, if you don't know better, you'll believe it. And you see, we need to do something about it. Well, calling Risch, Crapo, and Simpson isn't going to do any good. And so, and hoping, having guns and ammo is great. But once the bullets start flying and the people start dying, chaos ensues.
All right, let me jump in here. Aren't you, like I am, sick and tired, and I find it repulsive that we refer to each other now by a color? The whites, white racism, the blacks, Black Lives Matter. You know what? We are causing more dissension and division in our communities and our country than I think ever before, and I'm fed up with it. We're all made in God's image. And skin tone, I am fed up with it. I have always said on the air, and I'm going to bare my chest on this, and if somebody's offended, I don't give a darn, that calling someone, oh, the blacks, or he's a black, or whatever, I find that offensive. I don't even want to refer to him. I'll just say Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so or whatever. Why do we have to refer to a color-coordinated society that absolutely is coming apart at the seam?
I don't know, Zeb, but we all know the funding that is coming in to Black Lives Matter and Antifa from corporate America. No wonder they can afford to buy the back page of the Times rag.
Did you read that? Did you read it?
I don't take that.
Well, go get it, whether you go get it online or whatever. Read it. Read it. I'm telling you, Randy, you of all people that is very well up on what's going on in current events, this thing will absolutely, it'll shake you to the core of some of the groups and everything that are supporting this. And then they said a better world is already emerging, a world rooted in mutuality for all living beings. Yeah. Tell that to the people in Minneapolis. Tell that to the people in New York. Tell that to the people around the country that are being burned out. Tell that to the people in Seattle. This is insidiously evil and stupid.
It very much is so. And see, how many people, collectively, young, and you don't know how many are just so poisoned. One thing quickly, and I'm hanging up. My wife, during the Obama administration, he had an education thing. I can't remember the name of it. My wife brought it up. But he went into the schools and there was a lot of intentional propaganda taught to the children. And now we're seeing the results of it.
Yep.
Is partially.
Yep.
And partially it's our media, partially, if you want to defend your position, you can find somewhere on the phone that'll say that whatever you're doing, whatever it is, pretty much, short of murder, I guess.
Quickly, Randy, quickly.
Justifiable.
Yeah. All I want to say is that when I picked up the newspaper yesterday and went through the newspaper about stories that, players for the Portland Thorns and the North Carolina Courage knelt during the national anthem, and they wore Black Lives Matter T-shirts. Then, on the day before, I read the paper, and it says, 8 Can't Wait, protest held in Twin Falls, and they're wearing all Black Lives Matter T-shirts. You wonder where the education system has dropped the ball, why they dropped the ball, or why they even got the ball out of the doggone closet in the first place, because there's not enough education to really tell our young people how evil and left and anti-American this group really is.
Well, this is...
Are you there? I think his phone quit him. Caller, real quick, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, the problem is that the Democrats kind of embraced the Black Lives Matter.
Kind of.
And now there is no such thing as a Democratic Party. It's Black Lives Matter.
You see what's happening here, Keith? You're 83 years old, and you've been on this earth quite some time and have seen quite a few transitions and changes. But what's happening in this country, and it's so unfortunate, that what's happening with these organizations and these groups that are left communist groups, they are absolutely subverting the minds of people, and they're creating more of a racist attitude and hate and animosity. And that, to me, is just so sad, and it's got to be stopped.
Yeah, Black Lives Matter. It's like Vice President Pence said, all lives matter.
That's right. And
they're going to snuff him out. They're not going to give him any airtime or anything else because This is the new norm as far as they're concerned.
Unfortunately.
But there is no such thing as Black Lives Matter. It's an organization that they've cranked up, and I don't even know who's the head of it or anything, but it is working, and it's destroying America.
It's destroying everything. It's absolutely creating more hate, more animosity, more despising one another. I'm just so fed up with this, and people are being duped into supporting this garbage. I've got to run and do a weather forecast, Keith. God bless you, man. Thanks for calling back. Thank you.
Have a good morning.
Thank you, sir. Want to tell you the weather's brought to you by our friends, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, with the lovely Dr. Christine Pickup that really, really knows all about hearing health. Every time I've been around her and had appointments to help my hearing, she absolutely is the professor when it comes to all things good related to hearing and the study of hearing and what they can do to help you. At Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, the number to call, 312-0957. Caller, I'll take your call in just a minute. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Rain showers for today and tomorrow, then hopefully clearing up by midweek. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting rain showers for today, about a 70% chance, maybe with some afternoon thunderstorms. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of about 60. Winds could gust as high as 20 miles an hour. For tonight, mostly cloudy skies, scattered showers. Low of about 46 tomorrow. Scattered showers and thunderstorms by the afternoon. Partly sunny skies as we hit early evening with a high of about 67 by Tuesday night. Isolated showers before midnight. Mostly clear with a low 46 by Wednesday. Mostly sunny skies, 78. Looks like 83 for Thursday. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Rain.
Thank you very much, Gina, and brought to everybody by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And I urge you, if you notice a diminishment in your hearing, to call them. They can help you with the expert diagnostic testing combined with the best technology at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, 312-0957. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
It's me again, Margaret.
A little levity this morning. Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, the Black Lives Matter movement. Okay, so they can go out and protest, like in Seattle. They've been there for 3 weeks now. Are they self-made men? Are they wealthy enough that they could take 3 weeks, sit in a park, and do nothing and still be able to pay their bills?
Well, I guess the obvious question is, how do you and I know, especially when there's underlying forces of money, whether it's coming from anti-hate groups of America or the George Soros people, whatever. I don't know. You don't know. But I mean, they got to pay their bills somehow or buy their food or steal it like they have been. I don't know.
See, and that should make most Americans question who's behind this.
Well, I revert back to what I said to you a moment ago. Whether you get the Times News or not, I want you to take the time and due diligence to go find the yesterday's paper and look at the back page of the first section. And it says, Idaho nonprofits support Black lives. You will be amazed at the approximately 35 to 40 different names of so-called Idaho nonprofits. And read the verbiage that's in there regarding this article. It's a full page. It is going to make your eyes open up and you're going to go, oh my.
Yeah, I'll make sure I do that. But it's terrible when people want to tear this country down because they don't like it, but yet they stay here, and there's people all over the world fighting to get here and sneaking in illegally because we are a great country, and these people want to tear it down.
There you go.
I mean, I can't understand their thinking.
Well, let me just read to you a sentence, one sentence out of a paragraph on this back page of the paper yesterday, and see if this doesn't raise the hair on the back of your neck a little bit. Quote, across our country and in Idaho, Police have posed a threat to the lives and safety of black, indigenous, Latinx, and people of color, immigrants, refugees, people with disabilities, and the LGBTQ community. Oh, really? I didn't know that police had posed a threat to the lives and safety of anybody. I thought, and I do believe, they're here to help protect all of us.
That's their oath, is to serve and protect.
That's right.
And 99.9% of them do that. So why, my question again, and I stated it a while back, why do we demonize all policemen for the acts of a few? We were told in 9/11, you do not hold all Muslims accountable for the acts of a few.
That's right.
And we were told that by the Democrats.
Amen. I mean, you hit it on the head, Doug. I appreciate your call. I got another one waiting in the wings. But again, I want to say thank you for being a part of the program. Thank you.
And remember, everybody, let's do what we can for our senior centers. Let's go eat there if they're open, because I'll guarantee you, you'll leave with a full belly and a full heart.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much, Doug. Appreciate it. Calls welcome, 436-2244. I think Sean said I had another call there. Do I have caller number 2? You're on the air.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to quickly say, any police officers that are listening right now, there are a lot of us who have your back and who support you, so keep doing good.
Amen. Amen. Nicely put. Thank you very much, Rod. Appreciate that. Have a great day. Thank you. We've got to show support for our police. We have to show support. I'd like to see every policeman get a raise. I don't want to defund them or cut their funding. I want to see them all get a raise for the absolute total 100% effort they put forth to help and protect and serve us. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, Zeb. My opinion on these Black Lives Matter people, Antifa and such, they are, the biggest share of them are on welfare. They sit on their tails. They don't teach their own children to respect other people. And then they fight and argue and cause their own problems.
I can't get in here and argue with you at all. As a matter of fact, I will sit here and support what you just said.
That's all I had to say.
No, God bless you for having the nerve to call in. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
She is right. Here's something else that just absolutely tears me up this morning. John Wayne Airport, Burbank, California. I have flown into that airport, I'll bet you, in my rodeo career, at least 40, 50 times. Now the cancel culture is after John Wayne's legacy and his name, and they are demanding that the airport change its name and throw out John Wayne. That's right. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, they are absolutely saying to the Duke, nope, we're going to have your name changed from the airport. And even though he passed away in 1979, the family still resides in the area, etc. And the cancel culture says they want to strip his name from the airport. I don't know, folks. This has got way too much out of hand. And then to top it off, some absolute jerk up in Montana topples a statue of the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments. You don't think that we've got a problem in this country? That there is a growing cancerous evil in this country that has to be stopped. And it ain't going to be stopped by saying, oh, let's sit down and build a fire and sing Kumbaya. But he hooked a great big chain and tore down the Ten Commandments. Instead of tearing it down, the Ten Commandments should be more applicable to everything and everybody in this country and not laying in a pile of rubble because of some complete jackass up in Montana. I don't know, folks. This is so, we are in so much trouble. So much trouble. And it's not being, like Barney Fife used to say on the Andy Griffith Show, nip it in the bud. Nip it in the bud. Well, we're not. And we're allowing this, we are allowing this problem to grow and fester. And even let our kids and our grandkids get involved with this mess. Coming up next hour, we're going to talk to Rick Manning back in Washington, D.C., just about what we're visiting right now. Then, the cowboy and the man from Beantown, myself and Gary Goldman will be on at 9:30. We've got a lot of things coming up for the rest of the morning. Don't leave. Zeb at the Ranch on this Monday, June 29th. Congratulations to Norma Cunnington for winning the cookies, and we'll have a lot more coming up in just a few minutes. But right now we're going to turn it over to Sean and listen to the CBS News. Zeb at the Ranch, don't you go away. Oh, welcome back, Zeb at the Ranch on this Monday, June 29th, and good morning to you, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and they're telling you if you're ready for some summertime travel, get out of Dodge City. I mean, get out and explore all the beauty of America. They've got all the tires for your summertime travel, and don't forget, too, they've got that free pre-trip safety check. Check your tires, make sure that they're in good shape, the wheel alignment, and they'll take a look at the front end components. They're going to check everything, the shocks and struts, and of course the visual battery inspection. They just want to make sure you have a good trip. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And don't forget, farmers, dairymen, everybody out in the rural areas, they have got the best in farm service to you. All 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers: James in Buell, Dan on Pole Line, Lane in Rupert, Mike in Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, the Twist family over in Paul, and my buddy Trent on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Right now, along with Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, and Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Woo! Now, a good word for Western Waste.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all at the Georgia struggle. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at Georgia struggle.
Oh, my goodness sakes, get on the route service, get rid of the garbage. My goodness, it's easy. All you have to do is call 734-6969 and say, help! And once a week, they'll come by and get your garbage. It's gone. It's out of there. Wave goodbye. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. 734-6969. Sean, old buddy, I'm running a little bit behind. Could we have a good word for the Silver State Stampede?
The thunder of hooves, the thrill of the crowd, family entertainment at its best when the Silver State Stampede roars into Elko July 10, 11, and 12 at the Elko County Fairgrounds. Bring the family and enjoy 3 big days of PRCA rodeo action, along with the Old West bronc riding, mini bull riding, the Copper Riders, mutton busting, the world-famous Ring of Fear, and dance the night away to the music of the Moonshine Outlaws. Get your advance tickets today at J.M. Capriola Company, IFA, the Boot Barn, Roy's, and the Elko Chamber of Commerce. The best in the West is waiting for you at the 2020 Silver State Stampede, July 10, 11, and 12. Don't miss it. For more information, visit us at silverstatestampede.com. The Silver State Stampede will be following all of the Nevada governor's directives, Nevada United Roadmap to Recovery Plan, as well as the CDC guidelines. The safety of everyone is our top priority.
Wow, thank you very much. And I feel like this morning being Monday, old Satchel Paige, the great baseball pitcher, said, never look over your shoulder because they're all going to be gaining on you. I'll tell you. Right now, the president of Americans for Limited Government, my friend, Richard Manning. Rick, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, Jeff. How are you?
Well, we're hanging in, hanging on, just like that little kitten on that poster that's got a hold of the knot. That's how I feel this morning.
Exactly right. I feel that way myself sometimes.
Rick, you add so...
Today is not one of those days. I spent the weekend moving my office, and now I'm surrounded in furniture in the wrong place and boxes everywhere, but it is good.
All right. Well, I wish, and if I were there, we'd sit down and we'd discuss it over an adult beverage as to what goes where.
I think I got more furniture than I know what to do with.
Okay.
Anyway, what's going on? What do you want to talk about?
Well, you know, Rick, you've always been such a straight shooter, and I got to be honest with you that I'm this morning more worried than I've ever been in my adult life, and I'm an old man. I see a complete ripping of the social fabric in this country, and the healing, I don't think, can be taking place for a long time between the races because of what's happening with the Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and other groups that absolutely want the dissension. They want all the burning and the looting and the destroying of our culture, our history. How are we going to stop this, and where's the Band-Aid?
Well, that's a great question. When there was rioting in Baltimore over the Freddie Gray, over his death, by the way, all 6 officers were acquitted, and at least 3 of them were black. But when there was rioting over that, and they had to cancel the Orioles game, I think people remember that. What ended up putting an end to it was the black businesses stood with the governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan, and they basically stood in front of the protesters and said no more. That's when it effectively when that riot ended. The difference here is that so many of the institutions have effectively either funded, given money to the Black Lives Matter movement, which, while it's got a really neat title, the Black Lives Matter itself, the incorporated entity, is a Marxist entity. So it's not, when you say something about the group Black Lives Matter, you aren't saying that that somehow blacks matter less than anybody else. What you're saying is that the group itself that has captured that name is run by Marxists with an intent to destroy the country. So they don't have any intention of stopping. The Antifa has no intention of stopping. And corporate America just gave, a lot of these radical groups millions upon millions of dollars, maybe because they didn't know. I think they did, but maybe they didn't know. So you've got so they're funded, and they want to destroy the country. So what's going to happen? Well, the local government's going to have to step up. If the local governments choose not to step up, then the Justice Department's going to be filing a lot of charges against a lot of different people who are engaged in anarchical activity. And but as long as we don't arrest the leaders of Antifa, as long as we don't arrest the people who are the actual leaders, not the pawns that are jumping on statues. If we don't arrest leaders who are leading this insurrection, then it doesn't stop.
Rick, I want to have my grandchildren go down in the South and understand and learn about what happened. And, Sean, I've got a little bit of feedback on the line. If you could help me with that, I'd appreciate it. I want them to understand what happened with the Confederacy and the Union. I want them to see and learn about Robert E. Lee. I want them to learn about Abraham Lincoln and the Emancipation Proclamation. I want them to see all this stuff that I have seen throughout my life. And you can't hide our history, nor should it be diminished. But now, with the monuments being taken down, including the 10 Commandments by an idiot up in Montana, this thing has got completely out of hand.
Yeah, well, it is out of hand. We have, essentially, we've given permission through not dealing harshly with the initial mob. We've given permission to every sick individual in every community to go and deface monuments, to run their car through a veteran cemetery, and knocking over crosses, to riding on public buildings, spewing hate, and that's and the irony here is that they are spewing hate, and supposedly they want to talk about love all the time, but they don't have a single drop of love in their heart. They are filled with hate, and we get told about this, and that this is going to happen at some point in history. The fabric of society is very thin. It's not a thick fabric. It's not like the curtain between the altar and where the priest stood. It's which was like 4 inches thick. This is a very thin fabric, and it's dependent upon mutual agreement. And very few people not agreeing can disrupt the entire system. And ultimately, and the irony is that we're probably, my guess is that if we're able to identify these people, we discover that many of them are getting paid by the federal government through unemployment and other things, and they're using their free time to wreak havoc. But it's a challenge, and we need to have the monuments up. We need to be able to tell the history. We need to say why is what happened here?
Yeah.
What was, are we going to tear down the bridge in Selma, Alabama because, gee whiz, that was part of, it reminds us of something we don't be reminded of? I mean, you can pretty much take virtually every single place and say that. And it won't surprise me when they attempt to attack Mount Vernon and they attempt to attack Monticello, because that's what they're going to do. It won't surprise me when the Jefferson Memorial comes under attack and the National Park Service has to defend it. It won't surprise me when the National Archives come under attack and they try to get in and destroy the Declaration of Independence, because they haven't. Children need to be spanked. These children have never been spanked. Hence, they haven't, and the government is not inclined to be the first ones to do that. And, so if you allow somebody to continue with the tantrum just grows.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the ineffectiveness of the local government, what they did from enforcement. And President Trump is finally, got the marshals, U.S. Marshals, to help the National Park Service. So he's mobilizing federal forces. But there's really, local law enforcement is a local thing. It's really, the federal government is not designed to provide law enforcement functions in localities. And as a result, when, it's really difficult for the federal government to go in and say, oh, we're going to protect a statue in Portland, whether it be Maine or Oregon, because that's not what the federal government does. We have federalism means state and local have primary responsibility for law enforcement, and that was done so we didn't have a federal government putting its thumb over localities, and it was done for a very practical reason, and right now it's working against us.
I want to give a great big shout out to our Vice President Pence, because on the show Face the Nation with John Dickerson tried to, but he didn't manage to complete it. He tried to paint Vice President Pence into a corner because Pence would not say Black Lives Matter. And he kept hammering at him, saying, "Why, Mr. Vice President, won't you say Black Lives Matter?" And finally, he said, "John, I really believe that all lives matter, and that's where the heart of the American people lie." I am so proud of the Vice President for not weakening to this CBS News reporter. What are your thoughts?
Oh, he's exactly right, and let's just be honest about the idea that Black Lives Matter. The reason they want you to say Black Lives Matter is because it's code for Black Lives Matter the most. If it's not Black Lives Matter 2, it's Black Lives Matter the most. That's what this whole thing is about, and so it's racist at its core, and it's wrong, and nobody who is raised in Judeo-Christian ethos can say one person's life matters more than another.
That's right.
On their color of their skin.
That's right.
It's all men and women are created equally in the eyes of God, and it doesn't matter what color our meat suit is. So that's the critical point, and that's the point that Mike Pence stuck to, and it's true to his face. That's also true to the truth.
Absolutely.
Oftentimes gets lost in the politics.
We talk about the cancel culture, and now John Wayne, an icon. I mean, John Wayne with his great movies, his Western heritage, and his albums he recorded after he was finished with his movies, America, Why I Love Her. I mean, this man had a history of absolutely loving America. Now, the takeaway crowd wants to cancel his name on the Orange County Airport. No more John Wayne Airport. What are your thoughts?
Well, I kind of grew up in Orange County. My dad still lives there, and I fly out of John Wayne Airport all the time.
Yep.
It is a sad testimony to the state of being that John Wayne, who symbolized America for probably 30 years, in the American spirit, and overseas was a kind of the vision of America, whether it was the cowboy John Wayne or the Marine John Wayne, whether the Marine was fighting fighting Seabees, I guess it was a Seabee in World War II, or if he was a Green Beret in Vietnam. John Wayne symbolized America.
Yes.
He symbolized the individual toughness of America. And, of course, they want to destroy John Wayne because they don't want individual toughness to be the hallmark of what America is. They want a bunch of people who run around afraid, masked, and compliant. That's the vision. That's what they're trying to achieve. And John Wayne is the counter to that vision. And it is, and they're trying to destroy that. And they're trying to destroy it because that's part of destroying America.
That's one of the best answers I've heard yet. Thank you very much, Rick. Rick, as we sit here, we are watching many, many states rethink, regroup because of what they say is an insurgence of the coronavirus with more cases. Of course, there's more testing, so they know more about the cases. I made a statement last week on the program, and I'm going to adhere to it, that if they say that we're going to close up again, I'm going to fight them tooth and nail right here on this program. I will not support another closure. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no more closures. Sorry, they got their shot. Here's the way you have to. At least I'm thinking about these the new coronavirus cases. Number one, we now have contact tracing. So a lot of people, when they get the test positive, they fill out a form and they say, "Here's the people I was in contact with," and so they go around, they test all those people. Because we have readily available tests, they're able to do that. So now, of course, now you're targeting specific people who are most likely to have it. As a result, you're going to have an increase in the number of people who are testing positive, We're not seeing, by and large, we're not seeing hospitals overflowing. We're not seeing ICUs overflowing. We're not seeing any of those things. We're seeing hospital utilization about between 80 and 85%, pretty much standard across the country. The reason that is because that's the normal hospital utilization. That's where, hospitals aren't built to be empty. So these people are back using the hospital system, but we're not seeing the hospital system being overflowing. And Zeb, here's the important thing to remember: the entire argument in favor of this is that there is going to be that we're going to end up with some kind of problem where all these people are going to be sick and they're going to get everybody else sick, and oh my gosh, that's terrible. But the reality is, if the coronavirus is as they say it is, then everybody's going to get sick over time, anyway.
Yes.
And there's hope that there may be a vaccine, but we don't know there'll be a vaccine for 2 years that'll actually work. So the reality is, it is better to get the young people sick, or because we're discovering a lot of those people are asymptomatic, and as a result, we've got those people, and suddenly we end up closer to what they call herd immunity. But if we all sit in our shelter in our basement and wait to get sick, it's you never achieve any societal immunity, and as a result, the virus basically is like a sword of Damocles over our heads for years. And no, we can't do that. So let's get it done this summer.
One other question in regards to the coronavirus. I'm a little bit more than a redneck, as you probably have ascertained, talking to me this long time on the radio. But I don't like anybody coming up and telling me that it's going to be forced upon me that I have to wear a mask outside and everywhere I go. I'm not going to adhere to that.
I will tell you, we still have mask requirements here where I'm at, and I do wear them inside. If I go into an establishment, I'll go in because I believe that private entities have a right to set their own rules.
Right.
If they want to require masks, if I want to do business with them, I'm going to do a mask. But walking down the street, I'm not wearing a mask. In my own office, I'm not wearing a mask. And if I'm in a restaurant, I'm taking the mask off as soon as I can. It's but let's face it, if I'm going into the hardware store and the hardware store wants to, require a mask, then, then I need to comply with those rules and go to a different hardware store.
I agree. Yeah, but the point is, I don't like the government saying I've got to wear one under all circumstances.
I 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah, I'm going to fight that, and I'm not going to stand behind it. Listen, man, I wished I had more time. I'd like to turn this into an hour segment. You're so gracious to come on the program every week. Ladies and gentlemen, the president of Americans for Limited Government and a friend of this show, Rick Manning. God bless you, man, and look forward to next Monday. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Take care.
All right, sir. I look forward, honestly, to Mondays and having him on the air. Rick Manning, a straight shooter right back there in the swamp in D.C. I really have a lot to take care of here, so bear with me on my business. I want to mention and give a great big praise to Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward and his family and staff for the way that they treat you and your family when there's a real tumultuous situation with a death in the family. They always, of course, provide the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort, and upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. I urge you to call and find out more about pre-planning of funerals. 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Really, really good people. And moving right along to one of our great sponsors, I want to give a great big shout out to Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, and the other business that Nick Greenwell has, and that's Elite Fitness at 1200 Oakley Avenue. Yes, the Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley can help you get back to feeling yourself, recouping from an accident or an injury, and Elite Fitness can just make you a lot tougher caring for your fitness at 1200 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Both of these great businesses, I urge you to find out more. And Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation and Elite Fitness in Burley, serving you. Want to give also a big thank you to our friends at Denny's Restaurant. Thomas, Michelle, the whole staff. I mean, holy smokes, we had a great time at the last lunch bunch. We were outside. They had the tables and chairs set up, and they had a kind of a swimming pool set up to pick little prizes out of and everything. It was great, and I really salute them. What a great place to go eat. Delicious food, great menu choices, breakfast, lunch, and dinner anytime, all the time at America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and the other location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Don't forget, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, Denny's Restaurant. Coming up in just a moment, the first time I had him on the program, I said to Gary Goldman, he's the man from Beantown back in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm the cowboy out west, so we call that segment the cowboy and the man from Beantown. In just a moment, stand by. I want to urge you, too, about Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Now, up until Saturday night, things were looking rosy, boy, to get out of town and get on your four-wheeler, head for the hills, and then all heck broke loose with the weather and the rain and the wind and everything. But be ready, it's going to straighten up. Have yourself a side-by-side or a four-wheeler from Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Their hours are Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 2. All the accessories and a super service department to keep you running at Let's Ride. You stop over and see them today. This is definitely where the fun is sold. Really good people. Over in that same neck of the woods or part of the desert, you be sure and remember Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 over in Rupert, right on the curve as you're going into town. And remember, they've got all the life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and so much more at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Very, very responsive to your needs and devoted to serving you. I can attest to that. Good people. Call them 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Wow, one other good word, he says. Yep, that's right. I got one more to get you, and that is, of course, our friends at Patterson's Electronics. Don't forget they have, all your electronic needs. And when I say that, I am not kidding. I mean, they've got all kinds of gizmos, whizmos, everything over there. Anything electronic they know and they can tell you about. I mean that. Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley, with Curtis and Lorena, all the home theater systems, video surveillance cameras, complete sound systems, car stereos, TVs by Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, LG TVs. Woo! They're open Monday through Saturdays, 9 to 6. I urge you to stop in and see my friends. Patterson's Electronics at 421 East Main in Burley. And now let's jump across the country to the man from Beantown. Hello, Gary Goldman. How are you?
Zeb, I'm doing wonderful, and thanks for having me on.
You know, it's a treat, Gary, because of all the guests I get lined up for this program, and again, Sean, I hate to ask you, but if you could ride the gain a little bit on that, we've got a little feedback here. You really have an outstanding opinion of what's going on, not only back on the East Coast, but across the country, and I'm scared. I'm scared, Gary, right now. I just finished with Rick Manning on the air a moment ago, and I want to ask you, what is, in your opinion, is the status of the race system in the United States? I see it as a Grand Canyon divide that's going to take a long time to heal. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Look, we had the unfortunate incident in Minneapolis, And we had, that officer is going to be brought to justice, and, the system will work. The system will definitely work. But Zeb, from that we ended up with rioting on the streets. We ended up with looting. We ended up with this protest, and I'm all for peaceful protests, and this need to have this national conversation, which is great. We need, if we're going to have a conversation, let's have this national conversation. But that quickly turned to defund the police, reappropriate funds, and it continues to change every day, destruction of property across this country. Look, there's someone behind a movement in this country to make race an issue in this upcoming election. Are there problems with race in this country? There's problems with race in this country, in every country, but compared to the other parts of the world, it's a very small percentage. So you have to wonder what the real motivation is here, Zeb. The real motivation is to keep this political divide based on so many factors, one being race, and I think this is troublesome because this can lead to so many other problems that this country will face, and some that may be difficult to get ourselves out of. People are acting on emotions right now. People need to take a deep breath, sit back, and if we want a conversation, Zeb, I want a conversation, but I don't want to be told during that conversation to shut up and listen and comply. A conversation takes people to speak on both sides of the issue, to define what they determine the problems to be, and to come up with active solutions. The problem is those on the left do not know how to have a conversation. All they want to do is lecture us, and that's part of this problem. So I'm very concerned. Look, I really think we're at a point in this country, I never thought I'd see this, where this election and this year we're down to a couple of things, and those two things are good versus evil. And we have to quickly define as Americans which way we want this country to go. I think I know where you want it to go, and I know where I want it to go. But we have to stop this evil, and we have to stop this nonsense. Throughout the country, you can see the patterns. We have mayors and governors that are breaking their social contract with us. What do I mean by that? The social contract is I go to work, you go to work, we pay taxes, you protect us, you protect our personal property, you uphold the laws. They're not doing that, Zeb. It's one-sided. They're allowing anarchists to go through the streets of the United States, destroy personal property, destroy statues with no ramifications to this. They just do what they want. We have to, as Americans, figure out which way we want this country to go come November. I'm a believer that it's going to go in the direction of Donald Trump being reelected. But I think this is going to be a long summer. It's going to be a disturbing summer. I've been saying this for almost 2 years. This is what this summer was going to look like. And there's just people behind this, Evan. They're causing all sorts of problems, and it's not good for anyone. And it will set us so far behind when we don't have to be behind. There's ways to deal with the issues out there without the destruction, without the violence, and without the craziness. When you have leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement saying that if we have to, we'll burn down this country, and if anybody reads that, I don't care what letter is next to your name, DER or independent, that's domestic terrorism in my view, Zeb. And that should be looked at and that should be dealt with. Nobody should be making that threat in this country. And it's absolutely absurd. And we have to gain control over what's going on.
Amen. Gary, how do we go about changing or transitioning the thought and the mindset of Americans that just basically are accepting the philosophies of Black Lives Matter without really understanding? They are a Marxist ideology. They hate our country. They want to see the overturning of our Constitution. And so many people, including too many of our young people, are getting involved in wearing the shirts and marching in the parades and holding the banners of Black Lives Matter without really knowing how insidious they are. What do we do?
Yeah, no, and that is absolutely a big problem. Look, I've debated members from Black Lives Matter, and it's a play on words, because I can say that Black Lives Matter, all Black Lives Matter, all lives matter to me. I hate really this defining of whose life matters, because that's really not the case. Everybody's life matter. But with that said, Zeb, the organization itself has proved to me that they have no mission, they have no objective. They're using their organization as a facade to create chaos and anarchy on the streets of America. And people are buying into this. People, I think, are getting confused with the movement versus the organization. And, to some degree, whoever named that organization, pretty smart move, because I think they knew the way it was going to turn out. The young people in this country are being indoctrinated from kindergarten on now. People keep saying, it's happening in colleges. Zeb, the American people need a little slap on the side of the head. It's happening in your preschools. It's happening in elementary school. It's happening in middle school. It's happening in high school, and you need to get involved. You can't just go with the flow and assume that a school district or your local politicians are doing what's in your best interest. That's where we have to start curtailing the problem. And if we don't, it's going to metastasize even worse than it has to this day.
But there is Gary, you've got to, I think you'll go along with me on this. I don't care if you're in Massachusetts or Idaho or anywhere in between, Kansas, whatever. There is a naivete or a turning your back to the problem and thinking it's going to take care of itself by the adults in this country, and it's getting worse. We need to step in. The first 3 words of the Constitution are "we the people," and we're not doing anything.
No, I have people call me daily on the show and say to me, how do we stop this? I said, you have to get involved. And Zeb, getting involved is not just going out to vote. It's getting involved on the local level, getting involved in your city, your state, and moving up from there. We have to get involvement. And, Zeb, this craziness, this political correctness craziness, where people are afraid to say something because they're afraid their friends or their family may not talk to them anymore. Well, you know what, I really could care less about political correctness as long as one's speaking the truth. You shouldn't be afraid to speak the truth. We have conceded the truth to the fear of being chastised by friends, neighbors, and everyone else. That's absolutely absurd, Zeb. And we have to gain control, starting with our local communities and on up. And you just cannot go along with what you read in the paper, whether it's the newspaper, listen to the mainstream media or on social media. They're doing more harm than they are good, and unfortunately, people do not take the time to investigate. They go with whatever these individuals are telling them.
Gary, you're back there in basically the hub of all the Eastern Seaboard news and what happens in Washington, D.C. and filters out across the country. Explain to me, I'm just an old redneck cowboy out here in Idaho, how in the world can Joe Biden, Mr. Poster Boy for senility, staying in his basement, not doing anything, not campaigning, how can all these polls show him in the lead? My goodness, what's happening here?
I truthfully don't. I'm not a big believer in these polls, and you got to look at the source of where these polls are coming from. Could there be a little? I think we saw this with when the president was running against Hillary. Look at what you're saying. I get, because I run into people here that will tell me, or they call me on the radio and they'll tell me how much they hate Trump. Okay, you hate Trump, but are you willing to allow Joe Biden? And you look at you look at his past, the Senate as the VP. There's not a great track record there. He's going to be nothing more than a puppet when it comes to if he was ever to win this presidency. Is this what you want? Is this the face of the country? Is this the way you want the country to go? And most people say, "Well, I don't want it to." They'll say to me, "That's not what's going to happen." And what I'm saying to them, yes, the progressives are going to take this party over. They're going to take this country over, and Joe Biden's just going to sit in his office and smile, and they'll let him out every few hours for air zap. That's what would happen. Why people are accepting this, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Here in Massachusetts, it's so hard because you're up against the majority of the population that thinks that way. I go by rallies, I see people holding signs, and I'll ask them, what are you holding the sign for? They really don't even know that. People, it's like you say, it's like they've been, put under a hypnosis and they're just walking through the streets like zombies.
Yeah.
But I do believe that there are enough people out there to change this thought process. In other words, this type of thinking is not going to win come to November, but it's going to take a lot of work on everybody's part. It's going to take your part, my part, and the average everyday citizen that will not be afraid to speak up and tell what they think about the country. They don't have to be a Trump lover, but if you don't want the country to go this way, you have to look at what is going on and whom is running for office, because I'll say it again, The next election is good versus evil. It's good versus evil, and that's the way I'm looking at it, and I'm doing everything I can to prevent the evil from taking over.
Absolutely. We have a caller with a comment or a question. Good morning, caller. Quickly, you're on the air. Please, go ahead.
Well, a poll that was taken exactly the same day, 4 years ago before the 16 election, had Trump down 12 points in the exact same poll, the same company, the same area. So it wasn't anything new. And so, okay. Do you think the fact that people see their country being torn apart by, anarchists and the COVID-19, which is really nothing but a hoax, pretty much? I mean, sure, people have died, but it's not near as bad as we've been led to believe. Is that made people more aware that they realize that they're losing the thing that gives them everything they've got, freedom, Constitution, free market capitalism? I'm hoping. I'll hang it.
Gary, respond, please.
I believe your caller is right. I think people are realizing that. And unfortunately, Zeb, here's the problem. The media, the mainstream media. I had someone on the show last week that was telling me, okay, the mainstream media is the problem. We've got to forget about them. Forget about them. They're controlling the minds of many people, that they're not telling us any of the good that's happening.
Right.
But I believe a lot of people, and I have friends in the state that are the old Democrats, as I like to say, the old Democratic Party, that are tired of what is happening. Whether they'll vote for Trump or not, I don't know, but I can surely tell you they have no plans in voting for Joe Biden and allowing this to go on. When you see statues being ripped apart, people's property, the whole closure with this COVID-19 and the control that the government has put over us, people are concerned about that, and I think we're going to see it resonate come November in the polls. But again, you can't become complacent. You have to be out there daily, saying what is on your mind. And if you disagree with people, you have to have a conversation with them and talk to them about that, because this nonsense about just letting this go and being afraid you'll be, so-and-so won't be your best friend is ridiculous. We have to stick up for this. It's the fight of our life right now, Zeb. I'm sure you hear it from your callers. I can hear it in your caller's voice right there. People are frustrated, and I'm tired. I'm tired of waking up and seeing people destroying America, and if they don't like something, mayors and governors are just going along with them. Well, what about me? I may like that statue. Let's have a conversation
There you
about
go.
it. Let's figure out what we can do and what we can't do. But destroying property and getting away with it is only going to make that type of behavior become, more and more people are going to be on the street. I can do that. Nobody's going to do anything to me, Zeb. It has to stop. And part of this is everybody who lives in these liberal and democratic states has to stop and figure out, is this the way you want it to continue 50, 70 years of the same control, and you know better off? It's come to that point, and I think you're going to see a big change in a lot of these cities come November.
I will say this, and then we'll take another call, Gary, and I'm very adamant about this. I said it last week, I said it the week before, that it's going to take, right now, some bloody noses on the part of these so-called protesters to realize that maybe it's not so much fun tearing things apart in America as they think it is, until they feel a force against them that is more powerful than them. They're going to keep on doing this, and they've got to be stopped.
It's the bully syndrome.
Yes.
If you don't stand up to the bully, they keep on going, and that's what we have. We have bullies on the street of America, and you know what, Zeb? Our politicians are the biggest bullies going on. They're the biggest bullies out there as well, because they're allowing this to go on.
I agree. Caller, go ahead, please. You're on the air quickly. I've only got a couple of minutes left.
Yes, my thing is, it's surprising how uneducated these people are that are voting for the left. They are so uneducated in what's happening in their world and their surroundings that they're willing to vote in their own demise, meaning they vote these people in and they get the communist way or the socialist way that they really believe in. They don't understand the scope of where they'll end up. If they think they're going to end up with getting a whole bunch of change from the rich people, they're sadly mistaken. They're just going to dig themselves deeper in a hole. I'll let you go.
Respond to the caller, please, Gary.
Yeah, I mean, I think the lack of knowledge on the part of voters is it's apparent. It's what's going on. And again, A lot of that's the indoctrination, and it's not looking outside the box. And you have, again, the media and social media that are just pushing a certain narrative. And look at it. All you have to do, Zeb, is look at Venezuela. You know, the promises they made, the government's going to take over. They can't even afford a roll of toilet paper, and they measure what's going on in Venezuela now by how much weight people are losing, not because they're on Jenny Craig, Zeb, because they don't have enough food to put on their table. And if anyone thinks that can't happen to the United States of America, they're dreaming, because that's what these people want.
I want to go back one more question and comment from you, Gary, regarding the Biden so-called campaign and the so-called predictions of who he's going to appoint at various offices if, and God help us all, he doesn't get elected. I hope he doesn't. And he has said that he would probably put AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, in as the energy czar, and then, of all things, Elizabeth Warren as possibly the head of the Treasury. I about fell out of my chair when I heard that. Respond, please.
Yeah, and I think that's when calmer minds will prevail, and people will say, if he's really talking like this, and these are the type of people that he's planning on putting into office, there's no way we can put this man in the presidency. Look at AOC, has no experience, no knowledge. She's an activist. She's someone who's pulling her strings as well. Elizabeth Warren, I can attest from her in this state, she's done nothing for the state of Massachusetts. She does a lot of talking and yelling and screaming. A lot of these people don't even know how the economy works. They look at it from some book they read when she was a professor at Harvard University, but nothing to do with the real world, Zeb. So if that is the case, very scary scenario. But again, I think even those on the left, the older Democrats are going to say, the old Democratic Party are going to say, look, we can't go this way. And the only thing we can hope for is the one poll of stat that I will look at, that a lot of these young activists never go to the polls to vote. But then we have the whole issue with ballots being mailed in. So there's a lot ahead of us this year, Zeb. It's going to be an interesting summer, but we have to draw the line in the sand as of today, and we cannot let this movement go any further. And as you said, a little bloody nose doesn't hurt anybody.
Gary, real quick, do you honestly feel, we talked about this about 3-4 weeks ago, do you honestly feel that Biden may be given a quick usherance from the main leader of the ticket at the last moment before the convention, and someone else fills that void?
I still think that, I'd put some money on that one. I'm not convinced he's going to be the guy come the convention, however they hold their convention. But only time will tell. And then the question is, who do they put there, Zeb? And I don't know who they would have in mind or who they plan on what they plan on doing. There's always backstreet stuff going on in that party, and there's always backroom maneuvers. But I still believe, I have this funny feeling that he is not going to be the guy. I think they're looking at this saying, no, there's no way this guy's going to have a fighting chance against Donald Trump. Never mind toward the election. Trump will destroy him in any type of a debate if they allow a debate to go on.
I agree. I wished we had more time, and I have the utmost respect for this gentleman, national political analyst Gary Goldman from Boston, Massachusetts. Gary, please know that you're very welcome to come anytime on this program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zeb. Have a great day.
All right, sir. Thank you. Always look forward to having Gary on the program. Really knows what's going on. We need to know what's going on with the weather right now, late as I am. And the weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. And they've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. I know these people. I know how professional they are. The best with tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, financial statement preparation, along with retirement planning. They know. They are the professionals. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Rain showers for today and tomorrow, then hopefully clearing up by midweek. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting rain showers for today, about a 70% chance, maybe with some afternoon thunderstorms. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of about 60. Winds could gust as high as 20 miles an hour. For tonight, mostly cloudy skies, scattered showers, low of about 46. Tomorrow, scattered showers and thunderstorms by the afternoon. Partly Mostly sunny skies as we hit early evening with a high of about 67 by Tuesday night. Isolated showers before midnight. Mostly clear with a low 46 by Wednesday. Mostly sunny skies, 78. Looks like 83 for Thursday. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Appreciate it, Gina. Thank you very much. And the weather brought to you by the professionals, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, providing accounting services to you, your family, and your business. Don't forget, 1710 Overland and Burley, 620 5th Street in Rupert, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Hey, I'll tell you what's happening. A lot of fun things all this week at the 4th of July celebration, Independence Day over in Rupert for 2020. And some of the great businesses that say, come on over to Rupert include Haskins Insurance Service at 629 Fremont Street in Rupert. Number to call, 436-4141. Oh my, they'd like to thank all their customers for all the business over the last 20 years. Don't forget, they are your partner in insurance protection, Haskin Insurance Service in Rupert. Along with our friends at Dixon Oil, 602 South 2nd in Rupert. My goodness, they've been in business since 1951. They know all about gas, oil, propane for heating, everything. Daryl and the crew at Dixon Oil wish you and your family the best Independence 4th of July ever. Be safe, and remember Dixon Oil in Rupert. Our friends over at Haruza Insurance at 723 South 3rd Street in Rupert. Don't forget, they can quote your commercial and business, auto, home, life, and health insurance today. Don't forget to give them a call or go to realwealthmedia.com. Haruza Insurance. David Haruza wishing you and yours a very safe Independence Day and celebrate over in Rupert. Haruza Insurance. And last but not least, Snyder Surplus Incorporated, 116 South, 200 west of Rupert. And it's so true. I snicker every time I say this. Every day is a treasure hunt. Have you been in there? I mean, they've got everything, all the sleeping bags and the ponchos and the liners and the paracord and ammunition, boots. It is a treasure hunt. You're going to find what you want right there at Snyder's Surplus, 116 South, 200 west of Rupert. All of these businesses invite you over to Rupert for the huge Rupert 4th of July celebration. Okay, let me see here. What have I got coming up? Next hour, it's going to be kind of interesting to hear. I've never had this man on my program. His name is Brent Magnuson, and he's got a brand new book called Roger Up, The Blueprint for Living Life to the Fullest and Thriving in the Face of Adversity. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then at 10:30, we're going to have Vicky's Country Garden, the lovely Miss Vicky and Vicky's Country Gardens, and followed by, at about 10:47, Deb Hines with Minidoka Animal Control and Dog Days. So we've got a lot coming up this hour, and urge you to stay tuned to Zeb at the Ranch. Let's see, I think that's going to wrap it up, and we're going to send it back over to Sean in just a moment. Tomorrow on the program, I want to give you a little heads up. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we're going to have at 10:30 Raynard Jackson, a gentleman, and again, I don't like this terminology. He is a black man that really tells it like it is, and the problems that are going on in America and how they need to be stopped. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow at 10:30. Zeb at the Ranch, I'll be back in about 7 minutes. Don't go away. Oh, good morning again. Hour number 3. My goodness, time flies. We're having a good time. Brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations, safe, clean environments, and the best in tires for you. Stop in and see them today. Along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And, of course, our friends at Greystone Crossing. Folks, listen, if you're a senior and you want to move into a beautiful, beautiful senior home where the residents all feel like a great big family, Greystone Crossing, a 12-bedroom home, and it's so easy to find, so handy on 21st Street, just a mile east of Walmart in Hayburn. Please remember 3 meals a day, delicious meals. I'm telling you, snacks, housekeeping, housekeeping and local transportation all included in the rent. You better find out more. Don't put it off. Call today. Call Matt or Kelly Wiggins at 650-4979. They'll set up an appointment to show you all the beautiful amenities of Greystone Crossing Senior Living, where seniors live the good life with friends. Want to also acknowledge our other great friends, and that's Lon and Sharon, connected with 7K Metals. Now, you can be a part of this and have silver purchases sent right to your home, and you can help yourself build your financial security and future. And it's also a valued treasure in the future for your loved ones. I urge you to find out more about investing in financial security with silver and call Lon Hardy at 312-8699 or Sharon at 430-3259. Tell them I told you to call. Absolutely good friends of mine. And silver purchases with 7K Metals. Really, really nice people. And I think I've got everything caught up, except I need to give you the schedule for the Rupert 4th of July celebration. You know they've got that great big PMT Customer Appreciation Luncheon going on at noon today. Then tomorrow morning early, everybody get out of bed, 6 o'clock in the morning till 10, the Christmas lighting breakfast. That's right, Christmas lighting breakfast on the Rupert Square. And then, of course, all the patriotic music, the fireworks tomorrow night on Tuesday. Wednesday, of course, more patriotism, more patriotic programs. Thursday, of course, the third annual mutton busting competition at the fairgrounds. Friday, hey, the Firecracker 500 lawnmower race. And Saturday, July 4th of July, the big parade, one of the best in the country, all a part of the 2020 4th of July celebration in Rupert. Let's go to the phone line right now. I've never had the occasion to have this man on our program before, and he has a brand new book called Roger Up, The Blueprint for Living Life to the Fullest and Thriving in the Face of Adversity. Brent Magnuson, how are you?
Zeb, pleasure to be on. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, I love the title of the book. It caught my attention when the papers crossed my desk, and it's kind of a book to get us up off dead center and do something, right?
Pretty much. It's kind of the get off the couch and go for a walk on steroids type of book, which is quite applicable to the current environment we're in here in the country.
How did we get so doggone lackadaisical and devil-may-care attitude in this country? Where did this all start and how?
You know, in regards to, it's a good question. In regards to being lackadaisical, I think the biggest problem we have right now is the vast majority of people, we'll say at least 80%, are so consumed trying to sort out what the mainstream media is doing, whether that's most of the time scaring them. Networks are always going to be in it for themselves more than they are the people, regardless of what side you're on, the vast majority being on the left. And I think the biggest problem now is more people know more about a political candidate, or they know more about the everyday life of a Kardashian than they do their own personal development. And I think that's the biggest problem we have right now. A lot of these things we can't control. We can't control, you know, a whole lot of things that are happening. We can't really control the racial divide. We really can't control, to an extent, who's a congressman, who's in the White House. We can't control a lot of the things happening here and overseas. What we can control are the decisions that we make and the standards that we hold ourselves to every single day. And I think if more people put focus on that and a little less on who's running for office, as important as this election coming up is, and what the Kardashians are up to and what their favorite sports team's up to, I think people would be a lot better off.
I totally agree with you, but Brent, wouldn't you also add a caveat to what you said, that with the insidious umbrella of coronavirus hanging over our head, that's got a lot of people sheltering in place, right?
It does, and it's a fantastic caveat, and it's a fantastic segue into what unfortunately a lot of people aren't doing as far as pivoting. And I think too many people, unfortunately, have taken what's happening with the coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever we're calling it, and they've looked at it and said, okay, I have to accept what's happening, and I'm going to adopt this victim mentality, and I'm forced in my house, so that's a bad thing. I think if more people take a look at it and say, hey, as much as a lot of this sucks, and we've lost lives and businesses have gone down and the economy's been up and down, this is a tremendous opportunity. It really is. I mean, opportunity isn't the best thing to say when there's a lot of bad stuff going on, but it's the harsh reality. There's opportunity right now to better yourself. There's opportunity right now to read more books, to get smarter, to put more tools in your tool belt, to focus on you, to focus on your health, your wealth. And unfortunately, I don't see a lot of people doing that. I see people consuming 6 to 8 hours of Netflix a day. I see people drinking more and doing a lot of other things, but the vast majority of people, unfortunately, aren't doing things to improve themselves. They're just maintaining, if not even dropping off.
You know, I'm so glad to hear that you have written a book like this, Roger Up, because, you know, there's so many television shows. And I saw one just for an instant the other night because I am not a fan of primetime TV, but showing people kind of hunkering down, wearing their bathrobes, letting their beards grow. The women look like they haven't combed their hair or brushed their hair in a month. Everybody's kind of hunkered down because of staying behind closed doors because of the coronavirus. As people, I think if we're given the chance to be lazy, we will be, and we've got to change that mindset.
100%, 100%, and it's not easy. I think too often we get caught up in a lot of the self-help or personal development stuff, and a lot of it's fluffy, and a lot of it sounds good, but at the end of the day, it's hard work. It's hard work getting up every day at the same time and trying to be better than you were yesterday. It's easy to sit on the couch after 4 hours of Netflix and smash an entire tub of Rocky Road ice cream. It's not easy to eat the salad and do 100 push-ups in the morning. So it's really even tougher now with everyone being home. And the biggest thing that people can do, if you were going to just say, what can I do right now? The first thing you can do right now is start getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Because the more comfortable we get, the lower our standards get. And standards breed habits. And the next thing you know, we are consistently dropping our standards and our habits are getting bad. And the coronavirus is over with. It's been 8 months locked up in a house or an apartment. You've put on 40 pounds. You haven't learned anything. You haven't added any tools to your tool belt. And you had this tremendous opportunity to improve. And instead you fell behind and your competition thrived and got better.
Okay, so you get the book, Roger Up, The Blueprint for Living Life to the Fullest and Thriving in the Face of Adversity. They open up the book into chapter 1 all the way to the end. And what are you going to do? Give them a thumbnail sketch all through the chapters of what they darn sure better do if they're going to lead somewhat of a productive life?
You know what? If anyone takes anything away from the book, the most thing I think right now, and humbly, I think the book, I put almost 3 years into it, a ton of research. The foreword's written by a good friend of mine, Edmund, a retired SEAL who was severely wounded overseas. He's a New York Times best-selling author, and so many other people contributed to this and helped with this. But I think right now the biggest thing is the morning routine, the first chapter, the 0530 blueprint. What it is it's a map, a massive action plan for you to have a plan every day. So many of us get up and we haphazardly get out of bed and just kind of stumble through the morning, and the next thing you know, we're at work or we're working from home, and there's no structure, there's no plan, there's no routine. And you don't have to follow it specifically to the T. You have to make it your own. But what it does is it puts out an example of do this, and this. Put your own spin on it. Make it you. But if you do this and stay within this framework, you're going to be successful. Because what you do the first 30 minutes of the day decides how the rest of your day, the rest of your week, and how everyone else around you's day and week goes. And I think that's such a huge thing.
I agree. Brent, let me ask you this. We have a problem, I think, that goes all the way to the elementary schools, kindergarten, if you will, all the way through the entirety of the school system into the universities, of a lack of personal responsibility. Oh, well, let somebody else do it. Or, oh, well, we'll just sit here and pass the tin cup and somebody will give us a coin so we can go buy a cup of coffee. How do we re-implement personal responsibility?
Wow, you need to write a book, Zeb, because these are all the questions that unfortunately aren't being asked enough, and they're certainly not being answered enough. I think the biggest problem right now with our educational system is it's not diverse enough in a practical sense, meaning none of these kids in elementary school, grade school, junior high, and especially in high school, none of these kids are taught ethics classes anymore. None of these kids are taught goal setting. None of these kids are taught how to balance a flippin' checkbook. Yet, then they're sent out, they're encouraged to go to college, get about $120,000 to $150,000 in debt, go out and get a job that pays maybe $30,000 a year, and they don't have any tools to survive in the real world. And, I mean, I think one of the biggest problems, one of my mentors, Jim Rohn, says, formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. And the problem is there's a certain curriculum set up in the school system of books that these kids are reading. And, I mean, these kids are still reading that Lee Harvey Oswald shot JFK. That's a whole other rabbit hole I won't go down. But at the end of the day, I think it's incumbent on the parents, the guardians, and as these kids get older themselves to reach out and say, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm going to do some thinking of my own. Maybe I'm going to go read Think and Grow Rich. Maybe I'm going to go read Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy and learn what procrastination is at its core. Maybe I'm going to read an amazing book like Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Maybe I'm going to read some stuff on the history of this country and actually learn what the different branches of the government are, what the military does. I mean, as a veteran of the Army, I'm baffled at how little some of our college students know about this country, its founding fathers, the Constitution, and that's a problem I think we have right now. And I think self-education, which starts at the parents, is the biggest thing missing.
You've got me inspired. I can't wait to read your book. But I'm looking at this thing from the viewpoint of I've had a lot of obstacles in my life that I've had to overcome. And I sincerely believe this. There's only 5 words to this, and I believe in it. You can if you try. In other words, you can do any doggone thing you want to do in this great country, America, if you put forth the effort. And that's what's lacking in our education system and even our young parents. They're not pushing these kids hard enough.
They're not pushing them hard enough, and there's no accountability. No one's being held accountable. I mean, again, I have a military background, so I had a completely different life at 19 going to basic training with the Army than a lot of 19-year-olds do. A lot of people get a pass these days, and again, there's no accountability. And, when it comes to this country and its principles and its foundation, for example, capitalism, I love capitalism. I believe in capitalism as much as one can believe in it. It breeds entrepreneurs. It breeds opportunity. I mean, communism is essentially run on control of an iron fist. Socialism is essentially an organized government telling you how to behave, what to do, giving you the money that they want to give you. Capitalism is essentially freedom. And I can tell you, I fought for that freedom. I have friends that fought and died for that freedom. And the fact that capitalism in its own right is being, given such a bad reputation in high school, but mostly at the university level, is terrifying. And is it perfect? No, it's not. Are there things we could do to even make capitalism better? Absolutely. But at its core, it is just a phenomenal system. And the way this country was set up by some brilliant men, were they flawed? Sure, we all are. But my God, it's a really challenging time, and a lot of work needs to be done.
You know, I can hear by the sound of your voice that you and I are a lot alike. And all I'm going to say is that we all are given a certain amount of time on this great earth by the good Lord above. And to sit back and sit in a lazy boy, eating bonbons and watching reruns of Lassie, there's got to be a lot of better things that you could do with your life.
100%. I mean, if you have the ability to get up from your couch and walk to the refrigerator, you have the ability to get off your couch and go outside and walk, even if it's once or twice around the block.
Absolutely.
If you have the ability to literally get up off the couch, you have the ability to walk over to your bookshelf, pick up a book, read it, learn it, and make yourself better.
Amen.
And unfortunately, again, standards keep dropping, and I think right now, self-education, personal development, focusing on putting more tools in your tool belt is so important, probably more so than ever.
You know, you just said something, though, Brent. I'm going to hold your feet to the fire to explain it a little bit more, because I know you can. You just said the statement that standards keep dropping. Why? Why in the devil do we let these standards keep dropping?
I think a lot of it has to do with the amount of media we consume. I think the amount of people right now, as you and I are sitting on here, and you're entrepreneurial, and you're spreading a positive message. I'm in the middle of a 30-day radio campaign. It's phenomenal. I'm getting to promote my book and promote how I feel and the successes I've had, and also talk about my failures. I think the biggest thing right now is people are consuming so much media. They're sitting in front of their TV for hours on hours, listening to guys like Don Lemon or whoever. And conversely, people that are sitting in front of the TV and watching Fox for 12 hours. That's not healthy either.
No.
Get your media in small doses and start reading. Start learning more about everything you can, whether it's this country, its founding fathers, money. I mean, the more weapons or skills, I relate skills to weapons. The more weapons you have, the more prepared you are for this battlefield that is our country right now. And again, weapons are very simple things. Skills are simple things. Are you able to cook? That's a weapon. I have a 45-year-old friend. He could mess up a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Every day he could mess it up. If he learned to cook, that's another weapon. Do you speak multiple languages? Are you good with money? Are you cool under pressure? Are you a good decision maker? Like, these are all skills. These are all weapons. And if you don't have them, now's the time more than ever to start getting them. Because if this coronavirus has taught a lot of us anything, it's that we need a contingency plan. We need a backup plan. We need to know that we have money. We need to know that we have gold. We need to have silver. We need to know how to protect our families. We need to know how to bug out if things get too bad. I'm 20 minutes outside of the city of Chicago. I mean, I'm on alert every day. It's the Wild West out here. So I think being prepared and having a backup plan and a solid A plan is so important.
We have a caller with a quick question. I've got about 2 minutes left. Caller, go ahead quickly, please. You're on the air. Go.
I'm very concerned about people, generally speaking, because they have phones. And I mean, everybody's got phones. Children, and they all know, everybody knows enough to use it to get, whatever they want out of it. The distractions of these phones is so unhealthy. It's criminal. And you're not studying, U.S. history or their Bible on their phone. They're doing everything that is depraved, degrading. I don't know that they're addicted. I don't know that. I don't know. It scares me to death. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller quickly, if you would, Brent.
Depending on the age, I mean, I have a 9-year-old stepdaughter, and I know she does not have her own phone. What media she does see is very limited. And I think, again, that is 1,000% on the parents. I mean, if your kid's 16 or 17, they're out driving in their car, they have their own phone, it's on them what they're going to do. But especially when these kids are younger, it's all on the parents on what you're letting them do, and it has to be disciplined.
Where can people find the book called Roger Up, The Blueprint for Living Life to the Fullest and Thriving in the Face of Adversity? Brent Magnuson, where can they find it?
Yes, sir. Good old Amazon. Love them or hate them. Amazon is the biggest provider and seller of books right now, and right now the ebook is actually on sale for $6.69, and I promise it will be the best investment with the biggest return on investment you get this year.
You know, Brent, I've really enjoyed having you on the program. I'll try to get a copy and have you back in the future, but I want to wish you a lot of success with the book Roger Up. God bless you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely, Zeb. And send me your address. I'll go ahead and send a signed copy out to you as soon as possible.
I will do that. As a matter of fact, I'll get it to you as soon as I can after the program. Thank you so much.
Great.
All right, sir. Brent Magnuson in the book called Roger Up. I like his attitude. We need a lot more of that, believe me. We also need to tell you a little bit about Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Oh, boy, I mean, they had a great big Father's Day sale, and you know, of course, they have all their recliners. I mean, you talk about a herd of recliners. They've got them all in all the shapes and the sizes and the colors and everything else. And the fabrics and the leather. Holy smokes, all the recliners right there at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. And they've got all the mattresses, the Simmons Beauty Rest mattresses. What a selection for you to pick out and enjoy a good night's sleep. All of this at Father's Day sales, and it's kind of continuing right past Father's Day into now. They've got some super buys for you on everything, carpet and flooring, you name it, at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see those great folks today. May we please, Sean, have a good word for the Silver State Stampede?
Nevada's oldest rodeo, the Silver State Stampede, roars into the Elko County Fairgrounds July 10, 11, and 12. This PRCA-sanctioned rodeo brings you the thrill of pro riders going head-to-head in one of the world's toughest sports, rodeo. The action kicks off Friday evening with a delicious tri-tip dinner for just $10. Old West bronc ride, mutton busting, PRCA rodeo action, and the always popular Ring of Fear. Dance the night away to the music of the Moonshine Outlaws. And on Saturday, show your support with Tough Enough to Wear paint. Round out the weekend with Family Day Sunday evening. The best family entertainment this side of the Rio Grande. The Silver State Stampede, July 10, 11, and 12 at the Elko County Fairgrounds. The Silver State Stampede will be following all of the Nevada governor's directives, Nevada United Roadmap to Recovery Plan, as well as the CDC guidelines. The safety of everyone is our top priority.
Thank you very much. And right now, we're going to turn it back over to Sean for about 3 minutes. I'll be back with more Zeb at the Ranch.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Thank you on a cloudy, wet Monday, Zeb at the Ranch. And right now, via the phone, we're going to run over to Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South 600 west of Paul. And the lovely, the world famous, the lady that was absolutely born with a garden trowel in her hand, the lovely Miss Vicky.
Really, Zeb? Born with a garden trowel?
Listen, lady, it's the best I could do at a moment's notice.
Okay. I'll get by with that. When I was born, there was no such thing as gardens. It was too flippin' cold and snow year-round, I think, so...
Don't pick at some of my introductions, because I won't remember what I said 5 minutes from now.
Boy, what a change in weather. That little bit of summer wasn't bad. I kind of enjoyed it. It wasn't too bad at all.
You know, last Friday, honestly, I was thinking about what I was going to say to you to start the program off. I was like a cheap little candle. You know, I was melting at both ends. It was up there in the 90 degrees. And then we see a 35-degree drop in temperature. I mean, that's hard on people, let alone the crops.
It is. It's very tough on them, and that cold rain with that lovely little bit of wind that came with it. I mean, yeah, it's tough on things. It really is. And they're saying we're not out of the woods yet. So All I can say is be careful. Be ready to. I mean, if you haven't hit your plants with fungicide, I would get some on there now, so that they are protected when the sun does come out. Because the blight and that is going to take off. This is going to bring it up full force.
You know, you just took one of my questions and almost answered all of it, but I want to talk a little bit more about it. A lady called in and she said, I keep hearing the word blight on my crops, my garden, etc. I'm a new gardener and I don't really understand blight, what it is, what it does, and how to take care of it.
Okay, blight is basically a fungus that comes in. There's an early blight, a late blight. There's different kinds that hit fruit trees. There's different kinds. The most serious one is the late blight that comes in and hits tomatoes about now, and it can take them down. It's a disease that gets into the tomato, totally hits the whole nutrition side of the tomato, and takes it down completely and kills it. And it can do that in about 3 to 4 days.
Oh, my.
So it is one of those. Some of the other fungus and blight can be stopped and be taken care of early on because they're not quite as severe as the late blight. Late blight is one that can go down, and I mean it goes through the entire system of the plant and really gets them. They start turning yellow, and before you know it, they're brown and they're laying down and almost dead. So that's why I say right now, preventative is the best thing right now to get on with the fungicides. Liquicop is a good one. Adaconil is a real good fungicide. But spray, get some fungicide on them so that when that starts to come in and starts to work on the plants, there's something there to stop it.
A lady from Kimberly sent me a little email, and she said, I listened to the gardening segment with Vicki at Vicky's Country Garden, and I'm paraphrasing to sum up. It was a rather lengthy letter, but she said, would Vicki advocate only the store-bought fertilizers or good old-fashioned manure? Which is the best in her opinion?
Well, the manure is a good soil conditioner, and I like to see, if you're going to use manure, I have no problem with that. Use it in the fall. Get it tilled in the fall, and so it can be broke down and be ready for spring, and you won't have the risk of burning things. You can burn a garden up with manure, especially chicken manure is the hottest one. But if you put them on in the fall and get them in there and they start breaking themselves down, then the nutrient is there. Manure is high in nitrogen, though. So remember, on a garden, you need nitrogen, but you don't want straight nitrogen because you want vegetables, and vegetables take phosphate to set flowers and vegetables on. Nitrogen just makes leaves, and unless you're a cow and you're going to just graze, then that doesn't do you any good.
Well, yeah, but how do people know or are able to discern how much is enough or how much is too much?
Well, you want to kind of work on if you're building raised beds, that's the trick right there on using manure in those kind of things, because you only need, if you've got a raised bed that's say 2 feet deep, you only want to put about 1.5 inches, not more than that, of manure. If it's chicken manure, I would go to 3/4 of an inch.
Okay.
And till that in the fall.
Okay.
In the spring, you can burn things pretty easy because it's not broke down. It's still way too hot. Your commercial fertilizers are slow release. They're not going to go in, and if a root happens to lay right next to it a little bit, it's not going to just fry that root. But if in manure, if you get a chunk of manure or something like that laying there and you plant a tomato into it, and the root's laying right there, you can burn a tomato up or a pepper or whatever pretty fast.
Wow.
So it's a matter of getting it tilled in. You don't want any big chunks of the manure. It's a good soil conditioner. Just remember that if you're putting manure in gardens where you're going to be planting corn, they say, I've read different articles that says it can bring up the corn smut, which is a fungus, the big mushroom things that come up and ruin your corn.
Oh, my.
So they don't recommend using any kind of manure in the area where you're going to be planting your sweet corn.
Boy, it seems like with this wet weather and everything, there's going to be a lot of fungus among us.
Yes, there is. Every kind that you can imagine. On the fruit trees, I mean, the leaves are going to start showing the spots on there, which everybody laughs at the one that hits the fruit trees the hardest in this area, which is called shot hole fungus. And it looks just like you hit it with a shotgun.
Really?
The leaves are just perforated with little tiny holes. That is a fungus, and it needs to be taken care of.
And there's...
It can get on the fruit, too.
I see. And there's sprays that will alleviate the problem and still allow you to have a good crop?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's why I say right now with the tomatoes and that, get on them right now. If you haven't already been using a good fungicide on them, get on them right now. Do it about once a week on them right now to keep that out of there so that it can't get in and get a hold of your plants. Because once it gets a hold of them, it's a lot harder to get rid of than it is to keep it out of there.
Well, let me ask you, here we are, it's almost the 4th of July, excuse me, and are a lot of these, whether it's tomatoes or radishes or whatever, is there a lot of harvesting going on already in the gardens?
I have people, radishes and that were planted early. Peas are starting to come off. People are getting their peas and stuff setting on. Radishes are another thing that are an early crop, so they're getting a lot of that kind of stuff. Zucchini is starting to bloom now and starting to set on. So a lot of the early summer things like that are coming up. The carrots aren't quite ready yet, but there's different root crops that are. Depending on when they got their spuds in, won't be too long after the spuds start to bloom good. Then you can start utilizing the little new potatoes, which are just awesome. You can dig down and take the little new potatoes off, but it usually takes about a week or two after they bloom good before you've got any kind of a set on spuds.
Every morning when I go outside the door, I look now at my new area with Vicky's River Rock. I've got a whole bunch of Miss Vicky's River Rock over at my place.
I was going to ask you how that went.
I love it.
This rain, it should be looking pretty good.
Oh, I tell you what, it's all polished up and looking good.
Yeah, that's a nice one to put down because I don't care how hard the wind blows, that stuff ain't going nowhere.
It better not.
If it does, I'm leaving town.
Seriously, you've got, for everybody that's trying to do some exterior development on their property, you've got a lot of great things over there, don't you?
Well, we have the two different sizes of the Montana River Rock. That is a beautiful rock. It's got lots of color in it. And then we have a gray granite. I have a little bit of a tan rock. I'm waiting. It's going to be the end of July, 1st of August to get more of that in. But I've also got all the different sizes of bark also. Plus, I have the weed fabric that you can put down underneath everything to keep the weeds from coming up.
Absolutely. Okay, it's time for the lovely Miss Vicky's gardening tip of the week.
My gardening tip is go in, sit down, stay warm, stay dry, and get your handy-dandy hoe out and get it sharpened because I'll guarantee you what, when the sun comes out, the weeds are too. So get your hoe sharpened up and ready to go because it's going to be a happy ho-ho-ho week.
Oh, I tell you, I look forward to having you on the air every Monday. I enjoy it. The only lady in the world, as I said earlier, it's truth, born with a garden trowel in her hand, and that's the lovely Miss Vicky. What are the hours over there at Vicky's Country Garden?
Well, right now we are still open 9 to 5:30 Monday through Friday. Saturdays we're 10 to 5. This Saturday being the 4th, we will be closed over this Saturday because we're going to be in the parade. So we will be having a float in the parade, so look for us there. And then we're closed on Sundays now.
All right. Well, I tell you what, I love talking to this lady. She knows all about gardening. Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Number to call, 438-5663. You have a great time, and are you going to be throwing candy out in the parade?
Sure, we're going to throw candy. You never know what we might throw.
Throw some garden trowels. God bless you, Vicky.
What we might toss off of that float.
All right. Well, listen, God bless you, and have a great 4th of July weekend. Thank you.
Okay, everybody be safe over the 4th.
Absolutely. Thank you much. I love that lady, the lovely Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens. Does a great job over there. We better get the weather on real quick, and the weather brought to us by Scarrows Meats. 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. You can go to their website and check out all the delicious meats. ScarrowsMeats.com. Check it out. I mean, they've got a whole bunch of pork products, all the hams, all the different flavors of bacon, pork chops everywhere. And, of course, the bratwurst and tri-tips. Oh, for all kinds of family gathering, picnics, whatever, it's all there for you. Delicious, delicious meats from Scarrows Meats over in Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Rain showers for today and tomorrow, then hopefully clearing up by midweek. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting rain showers for today, about a 70% chance, maybe with some afternoon thunderstorms. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of about 60. Winds could gust as high as 20 miles an hour. For tonight, mostly cloudy skies, scattered showers. Low of about 46 tomorrow. Scattered showers and thunderstorms by the afternoon. Partly sunny skies as we hit early evening with a high of about 67 by Tuesday night. Isolated showers before midnight. Mostly clear with a low 46 by Wednesday. Mostly sunny skies, 78. Looks like 83 for Thursday. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at 3.
Oh, man, I tell you what, it's going to recuperate towards the end of the week and be beautiful for the 4th of July weekend. Absolutely. Weather forecast brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, Don Scarrow and the crew. Nothing better than getting together on the 4th of July with brats. Oh, they're delicious bratwurst. They've got the best. You better check it out. They've got them in a lot of different flavors. Call them, 324-7657. Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Let's go to the phone line right now, and it's time for Dog Days, brought to you by the Minidoka Animal Control. And here's Deb Hines, Animal Control Officer. Good morning, Deb. How are you?
I'm good, Zeb. How are you?
I am great, except I can't make up my mind whether to put my Carhartt back in the front closet or keep it right there on the back porch handy.
Keep it on the back porch till Wednesday or Thursday.
I think you're right. What's going on over there at the Minidoka Animal Control? What are you going to feature for us today?
Well, I've got a couple of really nice young boys. One of them's Pinto. He's an Australian Shepherd Cross. He's about 40 pounds, 2 to 3 years old, and he is a lover. He is just too much fun. He's good on a leash, loves people, likes to, play. He's still that young. He's just an all-around good dog.
Okay. And you called him...
got him because the people had 12 dogs, so...
Oh, my.
Yeah, I was happy to take him and hopefully get him into an awesome home. I don't know if he works cattle or not. I know he doesn't really chase anything around here, so...
All right. Now, his name is Pinto, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And how old did you say he was?
Tricolor.
And he's what?
Tricolored.
Oh, okay. And
yeah, he's a tri.
He's just a young dog, and you said he's fairly good on a leash, too, already.
No, he's excellent on a leash. He will, or off leash. I have to be honest with you.
Wow.
I've had him out here just walking with me, and he'll stay right by me.
I just still don't know how you manage to part with these dogs. I mean, I could not do your job because I'd get too attached to all of them.
Well, trust me when I tell you, sir, there are moments in time when it's like, I'm taking this dog home, and I know I can't, but I sure want to. They're that good a dog.
Okay, so who and what kind of a family or what kind of a home scenario would you suggest that Pinto would be best suited for?
He is a people person, and he loves kids, so anybody that has children that want to play and have a dog be a protector, he's going to be the right one.
Oh, boy. Okay.
He's so easygoing, but he's also going to be protective of his family, which, some people like that, some don't. I appreciate it myself. But
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll stop right here. And for those interested in finding out more about Pinto, sounds like a great dog. By the way, how big do you think he'll get?
Well, I'm 5'2", and he comes to my knee, and he's fully grown. So
okay. All right.
he's like medium, not small, but not large. You know what I mean?
Yep. And what's the number that people can start calling and finding out more about Pinto?
208-438-2200.
Okay. Now, Deb, you got another one for us today.
Yeah, I do. This is a big guy. He is a Border Collie Great Pyrenees cross.
Oh, my goodness.
So he's tall.
Uh-huh.
But last Saturday, I had him outside the facility while I was doing other stuff, and he never left me, not once. He came in, he laid in the office with me when I was inside. I'd get up to go outside and go do something, and he'd go with me. Now, remember, we're fenced in, but I leave the gates open so people can come in and out, and that dog never left here.
What's the story on him, and what's his name?
The story on him is he got into somebody's sheep.
I see.
I will be honest with you. I have to, and the girls and I have discussed this. I think it was their dog, and he got into the 4-H lambs thinking that he was playing. He didn't kill it. He just was playing.
Mm-hmm.
And bit it a little too hard.
I see.
So that's why I've got him. He has not shown any aggression towards any other animals, including a little terrier that is a rotten dog that gets in their face, and I'm surprised she's got a big clip. But he just puts them on ignore.
I see. What did you name him?
You think I'm kidding, and I'm not.
What's his
name is Ranger.
Ranger. Okay. All right. Now, what kind of an environment?
I'm looking for a dog that just wants to be, they need somebody to be with them and maybe go out and check sheep and stuff like that. I think he's going to be the right dog. He's just one of those kind of dogs.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But,
and now, what you said he was what cross again?
Border Collie.
Okay.
And Great Pyrenees.
Okay. I can't...
So he is not little in any sense of the word.
Okay. Well, he sounds to me like he'd be a good protecting guard dog also. Would you agree?
Well, yeah. Which is what the Pyrenees do.
Ah, okay.
I wouldn't want, like I said, the sheep thing, that still kind of bothers me a little because I just can't see him aggressively going after anything.
Right.
And one of their big rams jumped the fence and came out when I was picking him up and headbutted him, and he just kind of looked at him, and I went, okay, whatever.
These are beautiful dogs, too.
I never know. When I pick these guys up, I have to go with what people tell me, and that's all.
Absolutely. These are beautiful dogs, aren't they? Long-haired dogs?
Oh, yes, they are. They're both gorgeous.
Okay. And again, what's the telephone number for them to call and find out more about Ranger?
208-438-2200.
Deb, the
other thing that people need to know is that when we get these dogs adopted, we set up appointments. They get spayed and neutered, and their rabies shot, so they are done for the year. People don't pay anything but their adoption fee.
Okay, well, it sounds good to me. What's the easiest way for people to come over and look at the dogs? Tell us the directions on how to get to your office.
Well, depending on where you're coming from, the easiest way is if you go to, on the Tabor and Rupert Highway, you'll see Rupert Animal Clinic and Morrison Funeral Home.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a road that goes to the right between those two, and then you take the first left and go 1.5 miles, and we're right on the corner.
Okay. All right. And are there certain hours?
Please don't Google us, because if you do, you're going to end up at the tree farm in a Sequoia, and that's a promise.
Okay. What are the hours that people can make sure they catch somebody over there?
Well, I'm usually here between 7:30 and 8, so from 8 to 1 on Monday through Friday, and from 8 to noon on Saturdays.
Okay.
Except, of course, for this weekend, and it's 4th of July, so
right.
that kind of changes life a little.
Deb, I've got a quick call, and then I've got to wrap it up because we're running out of time. Call her real fast. Go. You're on the air.
Can I just commend Deb for the job she does? Because she is an angel. Not everybody could do that job, and she does it very well.
Well, there you go. You've got your angel wings, just like Clarence on It's a Great Life. Remember that?
I do.
Okay.
And I appreciate that.
Well, I know that lady that called, and I know she's very sincere.
My love is for animals, so come see me anytime.
I appreciate that. And to the caller, thanks for calling. Deb Hines over at Minidoka Animal Control, Dog Days. Thank you, Deb. Take care of Pinto and Ranger, and we'll try to find some homes for them.
Thank you, and have a great 4th.
You too. Thank you.
4th, okay?
Thank you. All right, Deb. Thank you much. I tell you what, I don't know how you can part with those dogs. There's some every week that just make me go, oh, man, I wished I had them here at my place. Hey, you better get ready for summer fun and summer travel safely with the best of tires for your vehicles, whether it's your car, your pickup, your SUV. I know where you need to go, and that's, of course, to any one of the 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They really care. They really care. And you've got peace of mind tire protection, too. If a tire is damaged beyond repair, they'll replace its value. Their work is guaranteed for the life of your tires, and they offer free pre-trip safety checks. That's hard to say fast 5 times. Don't forget they are always serving you at all 7 locations. And, you know, besides the tires, they've got the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. It's all there. And on the farm service to the farms, too, and dairies. You check it out. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. James in Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin, Lane on, of course, the Rupert right over there at the intersection, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin Falls, the Twist family in Paul, and, of course, my old buddy Trent on Overland and Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up, put it back in the box for today, and we're going to hopefully stay dry the rest of the day. We'll be back here tomorrow morning at 8:06 with more Zev at the Ranch. We always end the program by saying the way things were, the way things ought to be, and the 4 words that mean the most to us: in God we trust. Have a good one. See you tomorrow morning at 8:06.